soccer, but at the same time, like, we need to play basketball. That's what our fans crave, and that's what all of you crave as well, is you want the product on the court. And at the end of the day, that's how you make the money, that's how you're marketable, that's what the fans get excited about, that's what the fans want to show up for. So, you know, it's business and it's a negotiation, and there has to be compromise on both sides. And, you know, we're starting to get down to the wire of it, and it's become really important. And, you know, obviously I want to help in any way I can, and I've tried to educate myself the best I can. Obviously I can't speak to every...
That moment might be the most important 30 seconds the WNBA hears all year. While everyone else is distracted by CBA drama and endless he said she said debates, Caitlin Clark cut straight through the noise with one clear warning: the league cannot afford to get this wrong. And she's absolutely right.
NBA fans are so excited because Caitlin Clark is finally back on the court playing basketball, and it seems like she is 100%. She is going 5v5. Team USA is currently holding their training camp, so all the ladies will be in Durham this weekend training. As you can see the roster here: Lauren Betts, Aaliyah Boston, Cam Brink, Paige Beckers, Veronica Burton, Sonia Citron, Caitlin Clark, Kalia Copper, Chelsea Gray, Brittany Griner, Dearica Hamby, Kiki Riafen, Rakia Jackson, Brianna Jones, Kelsey Plum, Angel Reese, Juju Watkins.
December 2025. Team USA's training camp in Durham brings together 16 of the very best players in women's basketball, all focused on one goal: preparing for the 2026 FIBA World Cup. But behind the drills and scrimmages, there's an unavoidable tension hanging over the gym. If the WNBA and the Players Association fail to resolve the CBA by January 9th, the 2026 season itself could be in serious jeopardy. That's not speculation, that's the real deadline the league is facing. The roster looks like a roll call of elite talent: Lauren Jackson, Brianna Stewart, Kelsey Plum, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, and of course, Caitlin Clark. Yet this camp is about far more than talent or chemistry on the court. It's unfolding at the most fragile and defining moment in WNBA history. What these players choose to say, and how loudly they say it, may ultimately matter more than any performance they deliver between the lines.
I think there are different things that we can find ways to say, no, like, we certainly deserve that, and we're not going to compromise on that, and then other things that we can probably compromise on. But like I said, like, this is the biggest moment in the history of the WNBA, and I don't want that to be forgotten. It's important that we find a way to, you know, play this next season, and I think our fans, and even everybody that has played in this league that has come before us.
Listen closely to how she frames this, because it matters. She calls it the biggest moment in the history of the league, not one of the biggest, but the biggest. And then she immediately pivots to the only thing that truly counts: finding a way to play next season. That's the part that separates Caitlin Clark from the noise. She understands a truth that apparently needs to be said out loud: you cannot grow a league that isn't on the court. Think about where the WNBA stood just 12 months ago. The 2025 season hadn't even tipped off yet. No one knew if Caitlin Clark's game would translate at the professional level. Angel Reese was still a question mark as a pro. Average attendance hovered around 6,500 fans per game. Fast forward to today, and the Indiana Fever alone are averaging more than 17,000 fans per night. That isn't slow progress. That's a seismic shift. What makes Clark's message so powerful is that she's not just talking basketball, she's talking business reality. The WNBA just posted its strongest year ever. TV ratings jumped 70%. The league secured new media deals worth $2.2 billion over 11 years. Expansion fees soared to $50 million. This is the kind of momentum leagues dream about, and it's fragile if mishandled.
Give it up for Caitlin Clark's answer. Thank you, Caitlin. This is the biggest moment the WNBA has ever seen, and it's not something that can be messed up. I feel like I have been screaming this at the top of my lungs through all of the messiness that has happened over the past 2 seasons in the WNBA. You have a moment right now in women's basketball, and specifically in the WNBA. You have a boom that we have never seen in the history of this league. Do whatever you can to not mess it up, and they've already done multiple things. That is like shooting the—
And there it is, the part nobody wants to say out loud. Real progress requires compromise. That's uncomfortable, especially right now, but it's also unavoidable. The players are asking for charter flights for every team, not just playoff squads. They want a higher share of league revenue. They want better salaries across the board. And to be clear, they deserve all of it. None of these demands are unreasonable. The issue isn't merit, it's timing. The real question is whether enough ground can be gained now to prevent a work stoppage that could undo years of momentum in a matter of weeks. Kelsey Plum underscored this tension at the same training camp, admitting the CBA negotiations have been disheartening and that both sides remain far apart. That was December 2024, with a hard January 9th deadline fast approaching. That's a dangerously small window to close a major gap. And unlike the NBA, which can survive a lockout thanks to decades of stability and massive financial cushioning, the WNBA doesn't have that margin for error. This league is still pouring its foundation. You can't stop building halfway through and expect the structure to hold.
Against them. Kelsey Plum off the screen, kicks to Caitlin Clark for 3. Caitlin Clark up the court. Another 3. Caitlin Clark off the screen, another 3. Her shot looks really good. There were other photos of her going around, I feel like the past couple weeks also, saying that it looks like she dropped some of the muscle that she did gain before last season. It's hard to tell. To be honest, you guys, I'm not really like body watching.
Watch the sequence closely, because it perfectly explains why fans have been craving WNBA content all offseason. Caitlin Clark hasn't played a meaningful game since September 25, 2025. When Indiana fell to the Connecticut Sun in the opening round of the playoffs. That's more than 2 months without seeing the league's biggest draw on the floor, and the absence has been felt. But look at how she's moving here. The footwork is sharp. The release is effortless. There's no pause, no second guessing in her shot. All the offseason speculation about added muscle, about whether it led to plantar fasciitis or other soft tissue issues, starts to fade when you see this. She looks loose, healthy, and completely at ease. More than anything, she looks like she's enjoying herself again, and that's a dangerous sign for the rest of the league.
You know, we had the photos last year from Media Day when she was like flexing and all that, and you could clearly see that she had put on a lot of muscle, but it's hard to tell here, so I'm not really going to comment on it. But there were some fans that were saying it looks like she dropped some of the muscle that she put on, and a lot of people were wondering if that is why she had so many soft tissue injuries during last season. But again, I don't know, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And here's another clip, you guys, of Caitlin Clark's signature 3. She's dribbling the ball up the court, goes to her left.
Paige Buecher's sidestepping Caitlin Clark for a game winner was always going to explode online, and that's exactly what happened. The clip went viral in minutes, and predictably, Clark's critics treated it like some kind of final verdict. But that reaction misses the entire point. This is precisely what fans have been asking for. 2 generational players going head-to-head in real competition. No fake rivalry. No social media theatrics. Just elite basketball deciding the moment. The Caitlin Paige dynamic is compelling because they arrived at the same level through very different paths. Clark entered the league carrying unprecedented hype and somehow exceeded it, absorbing constant physical pressure, non-stop scrutiny, and still emerging as a true star. Paige arrives next season with comparable expectations, but a different profile. She's a more versatile defender, more comfortable operating within structure, and deadly in late-game situations. The stylistic contrast makes every matchup feel meaningful. And that leads to the real takeaway. These camps, these scrimmages, these moments are oxygen for the WNBA. This is the content that fuels growth. A work stoppage would erase it all. No games means no highlights. No highlights means no viral moments. And without viral moments, casual viewers never become committed fans. That's how momentum dies.
This is the kind of basketball that so many WNBA fans have been missing. And there's another clip that is also currently going viral, and it's Paige Buecher's sidestep 3 on Caitlin Clark. And now obviously the Caitlin Clark haters are loving this, but I also love this too. I love to see 2 great players like Paige, like Caitlin, playing either on the same team or against one another. But check this out. So there's a long rebound here. Paige gets it, pump fake, sidestep, drains the 3.
Angel Reese posting up while Paige Buecher tries to deny Caitlin Clark the ball, with Jackie Young rotating over to help, perfectly captures the defensive complexity people claim the WNBA lacks. Yet here it is, high-level, instinctive defense unfolding in a scrimmage with players who have barely practiced together. That alone says a lot about the league. The defensive gravity Caitlin Clark creates is undeniable. Even in a non-game setting, defenders are locked in. Paige is pressuring passing lanes. Jackie Young is already shading toward Clark's side. That's multiple defenders reacting before the play fully develops, and that's without a structured defensive scheme. In a playoff environment, that attention only intensifies. This is also why the narrative that Clark can't play defense doesn't hold up. Watch her footwork and positioning. She isn't gambling or reaching. She stays balanced, slides laterally, and forces her assignment into help defense. That's disciplined, fundamental basketball. Is she an elite defender? No. But she's reliable, and for someone carrying such a massive offensive load, that's exactly what her team needs.
Call them Team Gray right here in Team USA training camp. But it is so interesting because so many outlets are picking up this clip and it's like, oh, Paige Bueckers drains a three in Caitlin Clark's face, and she did. She absolutely did. But this is fun. I just love to see all these young players out there.
This moment in women's basketball captures so much more than just a game. All of these players, coming from different teams, backgrounds, and draft cases, are united by a common goal: playing for Team USA, representing their country, and competing at the highest level. The energy in the arena is palpable. You can see it in how they celebrate a good play, how fiercely they compete on every possession, and how much they care about the sport. This is what women's basketball looks like when it's given the platform it truly deserves, when the talent, passion, and dedication take center stage. But let's connect this incredible display of skill and enthusiasm back to the ongoing CBA negotiations. Because, despite the excitement we just witnessed, all of this momentum could come to a halt if there's number 2026 season. Team USA will still exist, and these players will still train and compete internationally, but the league, the foundation that makes moments like this possible, would suffer a massive setback. That's why these negotiations are so critical and delicate. The stakes are high, and the consequences of failure are not equal for both sides. If the players stand firm and force a work stoppage, they risk losing a year of prime earning potential. Many of these athletes are at their career peak, and missing an entire season could have long-lasting professional and financial repercussions. On the other hand, the league risks losing the momentum it has built: rising ratings, record attendance, and growing media attention. Without a season, all that progress could be erased, setting women's basketball back years. Conversely, if the league refuses to meet the players' demands and digs in its heels, it risks provoking a strike or lockout. Such a conflict could alienate fans, damage relationships with players, and harm the league's reputation for years to come. The players are asking for reasonable improvements. They want charter flights for all teams, not just during playoffs, to reduce travel fatigue. Currently, the league allows charter flights for playoff series and back-to-back games, but during the regular season, most teams still fly commercial. Given that the NBA has had full charter access for years, this disparity highlights the need for reform. They're also pushing for a larger share of league revenue. The current CBA, negotiated in 2020, does not have a fixed revenue split like the NBA's 50-50 model. Instead, it guarantees players the greater of 50% of league revenue or a set dollar amount based on a complex formula. The players want clarity and a fairer share, especially now that the league has signed lucrative media deals worth around $200 million annually starting in 2026. This timing makes perfect sense. They're seeking a more equitable distribution of the league's increased revenue. However, the league's financial situation complicates these demands. According to Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, the WNBA has often operated at a loss, with the league subsidized by the NBA to the tune of tens of millions of dollars each year. Some analysts argue that these losses are exaggerated or that the league's financial statements are conservative. But even if we believe the league's numbers, the reality remains: the league is in a delicate financial position. Investments like charter flights, higher salaries, and better facilities require significant expenditures the league has yet to fully commit to. What makes Caitlin Clark's comments so important is her recognition of this tension. She's not dismissing the players' demands or ignoring league finances. Instead, she emphasizes that the risk of not playing, the potential loss of a season, is greater than the short-term costs of compromise. Her perspective reflects a mature, business-minded approach. Progress often requires flexibility and willingness to find middle ground. Clark's message is clear: we need to find a way to play because the future depends on it. Recent growth statistics underscore this urgency. The 2024 season averaged about 1.2 million viewers for nationally televised games, a significant increase from previous years. The finals drew an average of 1.63 million viewers, the highest since the league's inception. Attendance was up nearly 48% from the previous year. These aren't marginal gains, they represent explosive growth driven largely by stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, who have captivated fans across the country. Their talent and charisma are fueling this rise, creating a new era of visibility and excitement for women's basketball. But this growth remains fragile. Women's sports can be derailed quickly if the product isn't consistently available. The National Women's Soccer League, NWSL, for example, experienced a surge in 2021, only to see viewership decline sharply in 2022 due to scandals and scheduling issues. It took them years to recover. The WNBA, which is just now catching similar momentum, cannot afford a work stoppage or cancelled season. Such setbacks could wipe out years of progress overnight. Another critical factor is the league's expansion plans. The WNBA is adding a team in San Francisco for 2025, with plans for franchises in Portland and Toronto. The expansion fees, $50 million per team, indicate strong investor confidence. But these investors are betting on the league's continued growth on stars like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Buchers to generate headlines, sell tickets, and draw viewers. A work stoppage could jeopardize all of that. Her words serve as a wake-up call. She reminds everyone what's truly important: playing basketball, growing the sport, and building on the momentum they've created. The upcoming January 9th deadline is real. If a new CBA isn't in place by then, the current agreement will expire, and the league could impose a lockout. The players might strike, leading to a bitter, damaging dispute. Once that happens, trust between players and management will erode, and even when an agreement is eventually reached, the damage could last for years. The stakes are enormous. A failed negotiation could lead to a lost season, declining fan interest, and long-term damage to the league's reputation. But a successful resolution, built on compromise and shared vision, can propel women's basketball into a brighter future. The next few weeks will determine whether the league builds on its recent momentum or falls into disarray. Caitlin Clark's words have made it clear: the game, the fans, and the future of women's basketball are worth fighting for.